Do you plan to investigate President Trump's former FBI Director Christopher Wray? Yes or no?
I have no plans in going backwards. I have plans in safeguarding.
How about James Comey? Do you plan to investigate him?
Senator, every investigation will be subject to the same legal standard.
Do you plan to investigate James Comey, who's on your list?
I have no intentions of going backwards.
How about
and
Bill
every
Barr?
intention of using the Constitution.
How about Bill Barr? Do you plan to investigate him, who's on your executive branch deep state, and you say you're going to ferret out the deep state?
No one
Yes or
that
no?
did not break the law will be investigated. I have always rejected any violence against law enforcement, and I have, including in that group, specifically addressed any violence against law enforcement on January 6th, and I do not agree with the commutation of any sentence of any individual who committed violence against law enforcement.
Do you think America is safer because President Trump issued these pardons to 1,600 of these criminal defendants, many of whom violently assaulted our police in the Capitol?
Senator, America will be safe when we don't have 200,000 drug overdoses in 2 years. America will be safe when we don't have 50 homicides in a day.
So you just won't answer the question.
Kash Patel, President Trump's nominee for FBI director, looks poised to be confirmed by the Senate along party lines after yesterday's hearing with the Judiciary Committee. Republicans look willing to stand behind the president's pick despite all those controversial comments and, yes, the enemies list published in his book in 2023. In his hearing, Patel walked back some of his most contentious claims, including that he would exact revenge on President Trump's enemies, and he broke with the president, in one way at least, on the decision to pardon all of the January 6 rioters, including the most violent of them. Let's bring in NBC News justice and intelligence correspondent Ken Dilanian, who's been watching this very closely for us. Obviously, Kash Patel, Ken, has been circled on the calendar as perhaps one nominee who is going to be tough to get through. But does it look like Republicans will come around here?
It absolutely does, Willie. In fact, it didn't seem from yesterday that they even need to come around. They're already there. We heard almost no skeptical questioning from Republicans. And the Democrats, I have to say, were frankly pretty disorganized and asked the same questions over and over again, particularly about Patel's involvement with a quote, unquote, January 6th choir, some January 6th rioters that he recorded a song with. They hammer that over and over again as if that's going to cause a Republican senator to vote against him. It just isn't. And as you said, he said all the right things, including distancing himself from the pardons of people who assaulted police officers and promising that the FBI wouldn't be political, would be focusing on crimes. So that was important, and that reassured any wavering Republicans, it seemed to me. But of course, there's what Kash Patel is saying, and then there's what's actually happening behind the scenes at the FBI, which are two very different things, guys.
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it, Ken? Not just with Kash Patel, with so many of these nominees, that in those confirmation hearings, Republicans are willing to swallow whole what they hear over those couple of hours in the hearing and not what he's said for most of his adult life, including in a book he published less than 2 years ago.
Yeah, that's right. And I think there's a contrast, actually, between the Patel hearing and the Tulsi Gabbard hearing, where Democrats were very focused and working together and asking the kind of questions that they knew would trouble Republicans. And you heard some very clear Republican skepticism in that hearing about Tulsi Gabbard. Whether they're going to actually vote against her is another question. But yeah, and in terms of Kash Patel, they were completely on board. It's also worth noting that Tom Tillis, one of the senator who introduced Kash Patel, sort of shepherded him at the hearing, was even stronger on the issue of the pardons. He said that he had been telling Capitol Police officers that the pardons, quote unquote, sucked, and that the president must have gotten bad advice when he pardoned people who assaulted police officers.
So as we talk about the possibility of Kash Patel leading the FBI, Ken, you have some new reporting this morning on several top FBI officials being told to resign or face demotion. What more can you tell us?
Yeah, that's right, Willie. Depending on who you talk to, they've either been told they're facing demotion or will be fired, although these are career civil servants, so they can't easily be fired. Look, there is a purge happening at the top levels of the FBI that is unprecedented in American history. Louis Freeh, when he came in the 90s, he sent a lot of people from headquarters into the field, but that was a different context. He was a career FBI person, hired under normal circumstances. Here you have partisan warriors who are doing this. There are people who are already in the director's office, one of whom worked for Jim Jordan, one of the FBI's most ardent critics. And what's really interesting is Kash Patel was asked about the possibility of mass firings by Senator Cory Booker. I think we had that sound. Let's play that.
Are you aware of any plans or discussions to punish in any way, including termination, FBI agents or personnel associated with Trump investigations?
Senator, just to be clear, I did not participate in any of those DOJ
Sir,
decisions.
that's a yes or no question. Are you aware of any plans or discussions to punish in any way, including termination, FBI agents or personnel associated with Trump investigations? Yes or no?
I'm not aware.
So within 2 hours of that statement, this purge started happening, and all of the executive assistant directors, the sort of top managers in Washington who run the bureau, were told that they were being demoted or they were going to be fired and they had to leave their jobs. These are people who had been promoted under Chris Wray, and a couple of special agents in charge, including some people who touched the Mar-a-Lago investigation, were told the same thing. And this came after, of course, many of the prosecutors who worked for Jack Smith in the Justice Department were essentially fired. So there is a purge going on. Donald Trump is trying to. It wasn't enough that he got elected president and made the cases go away. He and his people now appear to be trying to exact retribution and remake the top law enforcement agency and the Justice Department and rewrite history. And so despite what Kash Patel said yesterday about moving forward and not looking backward, it's not clear that that's how the FBI is going to be run, guys.
NBC's Ken Delaney with that new reporting. You ought to go online and read it. Ken, thanks so much.